My story is best started, I think, by saying that I'm the father of five. And but I only got to raise three of them.
I was a foreign exchange student my senior year in Germany and fell in love with the country and also fell in love with a young lady. And through that relationship, there was a time that she came to me and told me that she was pregnant.
I was actually in shock and awe to find out that she was pregnant. I didn't believe it at first.
I found out that my high school girlfriend was pregnant with my child when I was 16 years old.
Too young, and there were other things that we wanted to do and probably didn't weigh the decision too heavily and said, well, I think there's a thing we can do to take care of it.
The first two didn't do anything wrong that I didn't want to raise them. They didn't have a chance because they were both aborted.
I was strongly encouraging her not to keep the baby.
So I remember the whir of the motor and seeing these tubes that were being filled with red and white and the sound of suction. And
I knew the girl was pregnant, but I didn't know what to do.
I was adamant about it, to the point to where, I was going to offer to pay for it.
And with the help of a friend, she went and had an abortion.
The moment that I found out that she had an abortion, I was devastated.
The weight of guilt was just so overwhelming for me. And I was just terrified.
it all stopped. The room was silent, and they said, we're done. It was a success.
It was later in the evenings, as I would go to bed, I began to cry. And even though it's been decades since the first two were lost, obviously there's still an emotional place that comes up.
The depression that I went through for such a long time over it really, really set in. It didn't just mess me up, it messed her up as well. Mentally, emotionally, we both started drinking heavily, which we didn't do much of at all. We both started using drugs, which we never did at all.
I continued in a lifestyle of medicating with alcohol, marijuana, and I just continued to just sort of push that pain that I had felt initially away.
It was too easy. It was too quick. I wish that someone had been out in front of that Planned Parenthood, willing to just offer information and alternatives. I wish that there had been opportunities to know about other choices.
And there was just something profoundly that hit me that was like the wind was blowing, and I immediately had this epiphany.
I would encourage anyone who's thinking about terminating a life to see if they could seek out and talk to someone who's been there before.
So I called her on the phone and I told her, I said, look, you need to keep this baby.
Who's been able to say, this is what it means to me 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road.
And I said, I'll be there with you, every step of the way.
I would just encourage them to go and get with someone safe. Meet with another guy, meet with some others that would be able to let him share that story and do it in a way that they would be compassionate, understanding, and not in any way shaming or guilting him more, but to let that burden out.
It wasn't all wine and roses after the fact, but my son's 8 years old, and he completely changed my life. And I'm so glad that I didn't choose free will and make that mistake.